Well, welcome to the course. And for this introductory module, what I mostly want to do is two things. One thing is, I want to suggest to you that the way to get the most out of the course is not to skip around, because the course does develop in a chronology. And so if you start with one and move on through to the end, that's how you're going to get the best unraveling of the ideas and the mentality behind the course. I also recommend that you watch the videos first, because the videos are kind of an overview. Watch the videos and then you can get into the substance of the course. And the third thing that you might want to do is when you finish the video and you've read all the course material, then if you have any questions, specific questions, go onto the Facebook page and enter your question. But I want to give you a cautionary note here, and that is, before you put a question down, think about it a little bit yourself and see if you can't figure out the answer that you have. Because oftentimes we just kind of, whoop, it's a question. If it's a question, think about it a little bit, meditate on it a bit, and see what you come up with. And even possibly enter what you think an answer to the question might be, because that'll make it much more interesting for everybody. This first introductory section is really just about the origin of some of the ideas on the course. It's not only about my personal experience, but what I see as the unfolding of a new nutritional paradigm. And it's based mostly around my own experience, both teaching, counseling, and also being involved in the natural foods industry for a period of time, and my own personal practice, which is probably with all of us one of the most important things that we have to reflect on. So I want this course to be something that reflects in mind, body, and spirit for all of you and for all of us together. And so I hope that you enjoy the course. Take your time with it. It's your course. It takes as long or as quick as you need it to take. And I'll be talking to you soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. My personal story about health and nutrition started over 50 years ago in San Francisco in the 1960s. I was living there and working in a theater company, of which this is it. That's me hiding there in the corner. And doing the 1960s thing. We were doing theater, we were doing street theater, we were producing rock and roll concerts and theater events. But I had a little bit of a secret. And the secret that I had was that I had ulcers. Not just a couple of ulcers, but a lot of ulcers in my stomach and in my duodenum. And this was very upsetting to me. I thought, this is a kind of thing that only happens to old men, particularly when I was told that the only way out for me was to have surgical treatment. I fell back on avoidance as a therapy. That is until my roommate and friend brought home a little book by a Japanese philosopher. And this book was very interesting to me because I had delved a little bit into Zen Buddhism and various Eastern approaches to philosophy and religion. And this book talked about personal responsibility for health, and it talked a lot about the environment, about our relationship with nature, and that food was really the key to understanding health. And so I took the challenge in the book on, and both of us started eating this way with incredible results. I stopped taking the medication that I was taking, and in a short period of time, I noticed that my ulcers were feeling a lot better, and so I went in and had a series of tests done. The results of those tests showed that my ulcers were not only better, that they were actually healing up, and that some of them were virtually disappeared. I thought that my doctor would be surprised and pleased with the results of my experience, but she wasn't. In fact, she was angry with me. She said I was following a voodoo diet. It was almost as if I was being punished and reprimanded for healing myself without permission. She told me I shouldn't bother to come back again, as I was no longer her patient as long as I continued to follow this crazy scheme. Well, when I left her office, I had some questions in front of me. And those questions are still with me today. And in fact, those are questions, some of which I hope to answer in the terms of this course. One of them is, why would a doctor be upset with a cure? That was fascinating to me. And why would a 1,000-year-old system of medicine work when modern medicine didn't? why did people get upset when I started changing my diet? Because some of them did. And why wasn't this included? Why wasn't nutrition included in our understanding of the way that society works, of the way that health and sickness exist within our culture? I knew that one of the things I had to do was to find out some of the answers to these questions, and that there were actually people in America who could help me out in doing that. And so I had the opportunity to study with some of the macrobiotic teachers, the early Japanese teachers that came to America, and be involved in the beginning of the natural foods movement, learning life skills, getting a different perspective on health and life in general. My mentor in this process was Michio Kushi. When I met Mr. Kushi, I studied with him very intensively, traveled with him a bit, and he was the person who initially encouraged me to go out and start teaching. He sent me off to set up a center 9 months after I left him and said, just go out and teach what you know, and make sure that you do what you teach. Just teach the things that you're doing and have fun as much as you can doing it. And that's one of the things that has really shown me that you don't need to have much more than a tremendous passion to get the job done and to help other people in order to be effective in teaching nutrition, health, and our relationship to each other and the environment. It wasn't long before I decided to do some traveling, to go out and see the world, and Kushi really encouraged me to do this. He jokingly said that I would become a penniless samurai. Just use the least amount of money you can to travel the furthest distance. And well, I traveled from Western Europe all the way across into India, and took 10 months to do that, and enjoyed myself and learned a lot about myself and other people along the way. One of the things that I learned was that if you really want to, you can eat well anywhere in the world and in any culture. All you have to do is apply yourself to it. I've been very fortunate in that I've been able to teach fairly consistently through this whole period of time, and introducing shiatsu and diet in the UK and in many parts of Europe, sponsoring Michio Kushi's first seminars in Europe, establishing the Community Health Foundation in London, and co-founding the Kushi Institute, as well as being involved with a lot of social action, particularly in showing the connection between the food that we eat and some of the social injustices that exist within society and our relationship to the environment. Sponsored the first International Macrobiotic Congress, and that's still going on today. It makes no difference to me if I'm teaching at a college, a university, or in a public library somewhere in a small town. I'm always looking for ways that can be more and more useful and more simple for ordinary people to make dramatic changes in their life through nutrition and lifestyle. And I've been invited to speak in over 25 countries around the world. And my focus has always been on the same issues. Consistently, I've asked myself and I've asked my students, how can we combine modern science and ancient wisdom? How can we build a society that promotes health for all people? How can we create a way of living that supports a healthy environment? And how can we honor all life, human and non-human alike? These are the issues that are most predominant for me, and they're the ones that animate the course that we're about to enter. I believe that our understanding of nutrition has been far too limited. We can't take nutrition and make it the study of chemical delivery systems. We have to look at the relationship both to our environment and to the people that we share this planet with and the other creatures we share this planet with. We have to take care of human health, social health, environmental health, social justice, and we also have to have ethical clarity about what we are doing and why we're doing it. And that's what this course is all about.